Hey everyone, welcome back to Rhythm Railroad. So today will be another quick video on my CATS panel and some of the signaling that I've been working on for the lower staging. Particularly down here on the exit point where this coal train is coming out of currently. So as you can see, there are red signals in the middle of each track here. Originally, those red LEDs that I put in there were meant to just show the gap or the point where the train will fault, the other tracks, so that you both wouldn't hit, rub up against another train, and also so that you wouldn't create a short circuit if the turnout was not lined up in your favor. So I wanted to make those eventually mean something, and also I wanted them to be controllable by the dispatcher, and I was finally able to do that. Here's how I did it. I added the signals here. They're basically just the same as what I was doing over here, where they're just red and green. There's no yellow really. So since I don't have a yellow LED in there, it's just a red and green. And so very simply what's happening is that once I line up the route, like I did here for this coal train that's exiting, the idea is that the signal would turn green, and then once the block was occupied, it would go back to red, like a typical CTC situation. So that's why that's red right now, because the train came through after receiving a green signal, triggered the block, and then once it was occupied, it turned red, like you see here. Now the reason why these are white, in case you don't know how CATS works, this is basically saying that it's not assigned, like because that the block is cleared, but by default you have just a red signal, which means do not proceed. So right now everything's red, and that track is now available, or this block is now available for routing. So what I did, I was trying to figure out how to do this, since I'm dealing with this camera system, and eventually the lower staging, which is down there, is going to be completely closed off, so you're not going to be able to see in there unless you have this camera, right? So this is always here at my operating sessions, and the biggest screen is right here at the exit point and the entrance point of the staging, because I figured that's the most important part of staging. So I was trying to figure out if I should put the green signals inside the track as well. And I tried that originally, and I just kind of set them off with a battery just to see what it would look like. But the problem with these cameras is that they're not like super high quality, even though they say it's 1080p or whatever. It's really not. And also, the lighting kind of messes with the color a little bit. So as you can see, the phone camera makes this even worse, but the reds don't look fully red. They look like a whitish kind of red. When I'm standing here looking at the screen, they look more red, but not as red as what they look like in person here. Well, then again, the camera is kind of screwing with that too. But they definitely look a lot more red when you're looking at the LED directly. So what ended up happening with the green is that since it was right next to the red, it was hard to really decipher whether it was green or red. So I wanted to come up with some kind of system that would make it really obvious to the the person running the train. And either way, it's not like this is very prototypical anyway. I mean, you don't have a signal in the middle of the track in real life. But what I did instead to make it really obvious is that I put the green LED pair, I made it a pair on either side of the track. This way, when it goes green, it's very obvious because it shows up wide and it's double. So it's completely different than what you would see here. And obviously it wouldn't get mixed up with the other trains because you would have one on either side of that track that you're using. So I was able to go ahead and install those. It was a pain in the butt, but I did it. Glue them in and wire them up with the SE8C, which is what I control my signaling with. And now it's great because I have the ability, I'm just gonna grab my mouse here. I have the ability to set the route and show it, on the actual track. Now, here's the only thing that I'm still kind of working on. Like I mentioned, since I don't have a yellow option, what happens is when I set the track, so for example, let's say I want this train RM44 lined out. So I obviously switch the turnout. But then watch what happens when I hit the signal. It shows the track here, but it's yellow because this is showing red, right? Like I said, the white is really displaying a red because it's not actually assigned yet. The block's not assigned yet. So it's not able to give me that green signal until this block is clear so that I can display this signal as well. So once I clear this signal, which is not going to let me do it right now because there's a train ahead, obviously, which is that coal train, then it would actually turn green here. So you can see here on the actual track, it's still red, even though it's showing yellow here. I don't know if that's necessarily a big deal. I mean, I guess it would be kind of cool if the train could approach slowly right to that turnout, because you could theoretically, the way it's set up, you could make a little room. Like let's say you have a train coming in right behind the train that's exiting. So this lead is pretty long. It goes all the way up to here, to this green tape here. And the reason I put that green tape there is because that's where the gap is. So I can, I don't have to locate it. It's just easier for me to see it. So yeah, it would be cool if I had a signal there as well, but then I would have to have another camera pointing at it and so on and so forth. So, I'm still going to play around with it. If I can make it happen, then great. If not, we'll just deal with it this way. So this coal train is about to clear this block. It's a pretty long train. That's why you see so much trackage occupied here. But, so yeah, so that's the only thing, which is not, again, it's not a big deal as far as the signaling goes. So once this train clears, which should be in the next 2 seconds or so, I'm going to go ahead and click on this signal rather, to make it green, and then this will turn green for obvious reasons. So here it comes, about 2 seconds, and now it should clear up. All right, so now this block is clear. So watch what happens once I hit this signal. I'll show you here what happens to the lights. So you see the greens are on either side of the track, which makes it very clear as to which track is lined out. All right, so I'll reverse that by clicking on it. See, so, and also like visually when you see that motion, like making it almost looks like it's opening up a gate, right? So you're like opening up and then you're closing. So yeah, so obviously here on the panel, now this is a yellow signal theoretically. This signal does not exist. It's just to create the illusion here, because you need a gap here between the turnout and this next block on either side. So it's just a virtual signal, but it's not really there. And that also allows for all these signals to go green, which then allows for all these LEDs to turn green. So I'll do it with another track. I'll clear this signal. And then let's say I want to come out of track 2. Obviously you have to line it up here and here. And then once you click on the signal head, then I should see a green on track 2. There it is. Now I am going to move the camera over a little bit so that it's more direct, so you can see the lights a little better. And I'm also going to move it forward a little bit so that I can still see the turnouts moving on the camera, but I really don't need to see the tracks here. And that hopefully will also help with the color, because it'll be more direct. The inbound there's no signals here, so even if I get it on an angle like kind of like this, I'll be able to see this clearly, which is what I really need. And so that's in the works. But same thing. If I turn the signal off, it goes to red. So back and forth. And it's working with every single track. So here's 3. and then here's 4. So they all work perfectly. So yeah, so that's what I've been doing, and that's hopefully going to make things a little bit more enjoyable because I don't have to be worrying about actually giving the go-ahead through the radio for trains to exit. I could just show it. And I get, the less communication you have through the radios, or the less that's going on in the radios, the easier it is to communicate when you have a session. So less talking is better. All right, so that's basically it. I am still working on that scene over there, so I'm going to make another video eventually, but I wanted to just get this out there while I was working on it. All right, thanks for watching.